I'm Olivia, an 18-year-old high school senior from Portland, Oregon. Throughout my life, I've been an introvert, finding comfort in small gatherings and personal celebrations. My mother, on the other hand, is the epitome of an extrovert, thriving in social settings and large events. The morning of my acceptance letter to Reed College was when I first noticed the gleam in my mother's eyes, that sparkle that always preceded one of her elaborate social productions. I was sitting at our kitchen island, still in my pajamas, carefully opening the envelope with trembling fingers. When I read the words, "We are pleased to inform you," I felt a wave of quiet pride wash over me. I wanted to savor this moment, perhaps celebrate with a cup of tea and a call to my best friend Ellie. "Oh my God, you got in." My mother, Sandra, had been hovering behind me, her coffee forgotten on the counter. She squealed and wrapped me in a tight hug that smelled like her signature Chanel perfume. "This calls for a celebration. We should invite the Hendersons, and your Aunt Lisa, Anne." "Mom," I interrupted gently, "I'd rather just have a quiet dinner with you and Dad tonight. Maybe invite Ellie over for dessert." She paused, her smile faltering momentarily before brightening again. "Sure, honey. Whatever you want." But I knew that look. It was the same one she wore when I asked for a small birthday gathering at 13 instead of the fairy tale themed extravaganza she'd been planning. She'd agreed then too, but somehow, the small gathering had still ended up with 20 kids from school, a professional photographer, and a chocolate fountain. As senior year progressed, our house became command central for my mother's graduation party planning. At first, it was subtle, a Pinterest board here, a casual mention of venue options there. I tried to redirect her enthusiasm towards something more aligned with my comfort level. "Mom, I really just want something small for graduation," I said one evening as she scrolled through party rental websites. "Maybe a dinner at that Italian place downtown with family and a few friends." She looked up from her iPad, her reading glasses perched on the edge of her nose. "Olivia, graduation is a milestone. It deserves proper recognition." "I know, but..." "Do you remember Andrew's graduation last year?" she continued, referring to my cousin. "Everyone had such a wonderful time. Your grandparents still talk about it." I remembered. Andrew, unlike me, was a social butterfly. His graduation party had featured a DJ, catering, and over 100 guests. I'd spent most of the evening hiding in a corner with my phone, leaving early with a fabricated headache. "Andrew loved his party," I said carefully. "But that's not me. You know, large gatherings make me anxious." "You'll be fine once you're there," she dismissed with a wave of her hand. "It's just pre-event jitters." That was her typical response to my introversion, treating it like a temporary condition I could overcome rather than an intrinsic part of who I am. It wasn't that I couldn't function in social settings, I just found them draining rather than energizing. After a lifetime of being Sandra Mitchell's daughter, I'd become adept at putting on a social face when necessary, but it always came at a cost. My father, David, was more understanding. A software engineer who preferred the company of computers to cocktail parties, he often served as the buffer between my mother's social ambitions and my quieter preferences. But he traveled frequently for work, and in the months leading up to graduation, he was overseeing a major project in Seattle that kept him away 4 days a week. "Just humor her a little," he advised during one of our weekly calls. "She means well, and she's so proud of you." "I know, Dad, but she's not listening to me." Again. I could hear the resignation in his sigh. "I'll talk to her when I'm home this weekend." Whatever conversation they had didn't change much. If anything, my mother doubled down on her efforts, now working with a stealth that worried me more than her overt planning. She stopped discussing party details around me, her laptop screen mysteriously closing whenever I entered the room. It wasn't until a month before graduation that I discovered the true scale of her preparations. I was at Ellie's house working on a final project when my phone buzzed with a text from Blake, a casual friend from my AP English class. "Looking forward to your grad party. My band just got the confirmation to play for the first hour." Any song requests? I stared at the message, confusion turning quickly to dread. What grad party? I texted back. The one at the Evergreen. Your mom booked us last week. The Evergreen was a trendy event space downtown that could accommodate at least 200 people. My heart rate accelerated as I excused myself from Ellie's room and called my mother. "Oh, honey, I was going to tell you," she said when confronted. "I just wanted to handle all the stressful parts myself so you could focus on finals." "Mom, we talked about this. I don't want a huge party." "It's not huge," she protested. "Just family and close friends." "Close enough friends that you hired Blake's band?" "How many people did you invite?" A pause. "Just around 75. 75 people." My voice cracked. That's exactly what I didn't want. "Olivia, these are all people who care about you and want to celebrate your achievement." "No, these are all people who you want to impress with your party planning skills. This isn't about me at all." When I got home, I found evidence of how far her planning had progressed. A stack of elegant invitations sat on her desk, already addressed and stamped. The menu from a catering company lay beside them, featuring elaborate appetizers and a custom cake. There was even a mock-up for a photo backdrop with "Congratulations Graduate 2025" in gold lettering. Something inside me snapped. 18 years of having my boundaries ignored culminated in that moment, standing in my mother's home office surrounded by physical proof that my feelings didn't matter. "I can't believe you did this behind my back," I said when she returned from running errands. "After I specifically told you what I wanted." "Olivia, you're overreacting. This is going to be wonderful, I promise." "No, it's going to be wonderful for you. It's going to be miserable for me." "Don't be dramatic," she scoffed. "You're acting like I'm torturing you instead of throwing you a beautiful party. You don't get it, do you? This isn't just about the party. It's about you never respecting who I am. I'm not you, Mom. I never have been, and I never will be." Her face hardened. "I know exactly who you are, Olivia. And part of being an adult is learning to navigate social situations with grace, not hiding from them. I don't hide from social situations. I choose ones that don't leave me emotionally exhausted and anxious. Well, sometimes in life we have to do things that are uncomfortable for the sake of the people we love. Like having your graduation hijacked to satisfy your mother's social ambitions." I shot back. Her eyes widened. "That is completely unfair. Everything I do for you." "No, you do it for yourself. If this was really for me, you would have listened to what I actually wanted." The argument escalated, with years of suppressed frustration pouring out from both sides. She accused me of being ungrateful, I accused her of being controlling. We said things we didn't mean, reopening old wounds and creating new ones. "Fine," she finally said, tears streaking her makeup. "If you hate the idea of celebrating with people who love you so much, I'll cancel everything." "That's not what I'm saying, and you know it." But she had already turned away, slamming her bedroom door behind her. I stood in the hallway, shaking with anger and hurt. The walls of our house suddenly felt suffocating. Grabbing my jacket and keys, I left without a destination in mind, just needing space to breathe. I drove to Forest Park, a sprawling urban forest that had always been my sanctuary when life became overwhelming. As I hiked along familiar trails, the tension in my chest gradually eased. The spring air was cool and damp, carrying the scent of pine and wet earth. Birds called to each other overhead, their songs a welcome substitute for human voices. After an hour of walking, I found a quiet spot overlooking the city and pulled out my phone. Ignoring the missed calls from my mother, I posted about my situation on a community forum I frequented, seeking perspective from strangers who might understand my position better than my own family. The responses came quickly. Many validated my feelings about having my boundaries respected. "Your graduation, your rules. Your mom needs to understand that forcing her idea of celebration on you isn't a gift, it's a burden. As a fellow introvert with an extroverted parent, I feel your pain. Stand your ground. This is about celebrating you, not satisfying her need to throw a party. Others encouraged me to consider her perspective. While your feelings are valid, remember that your mom probably sees this as her way of showing love and pride. Could you compromise somehow? Graduations are as much for the parents as the graduates. They've invested 18 years in getting you to this point. Maybe find a middle ground. One comment in particular made me pause. Ask yourself this: years from now, what will you regret more? Having a party that made you uncomfortable for a few hours, or the rift this fight might create between you and your mom at what should be a joyful time? By the time I returned home, the sun had set. I found my mother sitting at the kitchen table, her eyes red-rimmed. The stack of invitations was gone. I called the venue and canceled the reservation, she said quietly. I'll let everyone know tomorrow. The victory felt hollow. Despite being what I'd asked for, seeing her deflated posture and the defeat in her eyes brought me no satisfaction. I sat across from her. I shouldn't have blown up like that. And I should have respected your wishes from the beginning. She fidgeted with her wedding ring, twisting it around her finger, a nervous habit she'd had for as long as I could remember. I just wanted to celebrate you. You've worked so hard, and I'm so proud of what you've accomplished. I know, Mom. And I appreciate that. I really do. I took a deep breath. What if we compromise? Over cups of tea that had grown cold while we talked, we negotiated a solution: a small dinner with immediate family and my closest friends at my favorite restaurant, followed by a separate open house reception where she could invite her broader circle. The open house would have a drop-in format, allowing me breaks when I needed them, and my father promised to run interference if I became overwhelmed. And no band, I stipulated. Background music only. She managed a smile. Deal. The dinner was perfect, intimate, relaxed, filled with genuine conversation rather than small talk with acquaintances I barely knew. Afterward, we returned home for the open house, which my mother had tastefully decorated with photos from throughout my school years. As predicted, the larger gathering was challenging for me. But having my quiet dinner first gave me the emotional reserves to handle it. When I needed breaks, I retreated to my room or the backyard patio with Ellie or my dad. My mother, true to her word, created a buffer when she saw my energy flagging, steering conversations and directing attention elsewhere to give me space. By the end of the night, I was exhausted but satisfied. The compromise hadn't been perfect for either of us, but it had been respectful of both. In the days that followed, as I packed for college and prepared for the next chapter of my life, our relationship subtly shifted. There was a new awareness between us, a recognition of our differences that felt more like acceptance than tolerance. I ordered some things for your dorm room, she told me one afternoon, presenting a box of practical items: noise-canceling headphones, a privacy screen for my desk, a door hang with "Quiet Hours" printed on it. It was a small gesture, but it spoke volumes. She was seeing me, really seeing me, perhaps for the first time. This experience taught me the importance of open communication and finding middle ground in relationships. While our personalities may differ, understanding and compromise can bridge the gap between contrasting preferences. And sometimes, the most meaningful celebrations aren't about the number of people in attendance, but about feeling truly seen by those who matter most.